Thank
Would
you.
you like a lapel mic or is this fine?
This is actually. Okay. I suppose it's only fair to start by asking all three of you, were you familiar with each other's work before you met for The Grey Man, between the Russos and Dhanush? Were you familiar with Dhanush's work, and Dhanush, were you familiar with theirs?
Of course, everybody knows them.
Yeah, and we actually became familiar with Dhanush's work as we were sort of developing The Grey Man. We do a lot of research in terms of what we can do with the action, what we're aspiring to do, and we have a wonderful creative team and a stunt performing team that we work with as we develop those ideas. And many people on that team would start to show us videos of Dhanush over time, and sort of as examples of really fascinating action and cool ideas to do. And as Joe and I kept watching Dhanush in these clips, we started thinking, well, why are we just looking at him as a reference? Why don't we actually ask him if he wants to be in the movie? And to our great surprise and pleasure, he did. So we had a fantastic experience with him.
Dhanush, were there specific films of theirs that you were a fan of?
I mean, of course, Infinity War. I mean, it was, and if you have kids at home, you will know the Russos, right?
Of course.
So my kids are all big fans. We've all gone to the theaters and watched such, the true meaning of larger than life experience, and it's amazing to have had an opportunity to, work with them. It's great.
Yeah, sure.
Do we owe it to your children that you said yes to being in The Grey Man?
No, just owe it to yourselves.
To Anthony and Joe, when you go in to make a new action film, right after you make two of the biggest superhero films ever, how do you approach that, specifically the action? One would imagine that you've pretty much done everything that you've wanted to, done everything that you had in your mind. How do you approach a new action film when you get off those films?
Well, this movie was an incredible opportunity for us because, look, we've been working in the realm of fantasy and science fiction with the Marvel films, and there's different rules to how those universes work, and I mean, look, that's part of the great fun of making those movies, is you're dealing with a fantasy realm. I mean, the challenge for us on this movie was going from those movies where like so much was possible. You can go to outer space, you can go to other dimensions, All of a sudden now we're dealing it with something that's more resembles our actual real world. And of course, even though the story is a heightened story, it still tries to behave according to the laws of physics and sort of in a way that's recognizable to us as something sort of plausibly real in our world. So having to deal with those different rules, those are limitations, but limitations are always like very good for creativity because it forces you to become inventive within the restrictions of the limitations. So that was the great thrill for Joe and I, was just to be able to deal with a different set of rules, the different world that we were building in this movie.
Right. Joe, did you want to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think no capes, no shields in this one, as Ann said. So, it's exciting to us to work with material that has a global scale to it, that allows us to bring in actors like Dhanush from around the world. We see storytelling as a binding element, something that brings people together, brings community together. So we like telling stories that bring as many people in together as possible, and that's a priority for us. We love genre. We think lots of people like genre.
Sure.
They like to watch it. It's propulsive, and this is a big, fun, spectacle genre movie.
Dhanush, the need to impress the kids aside, what sold you on doing this film?
I mean, I've told this before. It's the name. It's the Russos. It's the brand Russos, and the character when they describe me, Avik's son, and it's a very easy yes, right? It's a very no-brainer. You just have to use this opportunity that was gifted to you and then make the most of it.
Sure. Gentlemen, what was it specifically about this story? You explained the challenge and the opportunity about sort of now working in a universe where there are rules and a new set of rules, if you like. What was it specifically about Mark Greaney's book that appealed to you? And also, didn't it take about 9 years to develop?
Yeah, we first read the book while we were working on Captain America: Winter Soldier. We were looking at it as a potential follow-up to that movie. We didn't know we were going to make 3 more Marvel films, so it took a little while for us to get back to The Gray Man. We loved the book because it was so energetic, it was fun, it was very modern. We loved the lead character. We liked this idea of, the world's assassins, hunting him down. Again, it gives you an excuse for sort of a global cast. It just screamed to be converted to a movie from the page. So we were, we also liked that it felt very modern. It had very modern thematics in it. At the end of the day, it's a parable about 2 characters Ryan Gosling's character and Chris Evans' character, that are different sides of the same coin. And one leans towards humanity, and one leans away from humanity. And it seems to be a very common theme that we're all struggling with around the world right now. Do we lean towards community and humanity, or do we lean away from it and towards individualism and self-preservation?
Did you want to add to that?
No.
Okay. Given that this is a spy film, there will be, and I know that there have been the obvious comparisons to Bond and Bourne, but what were your own specific sort of influences, if you like, inspirations for this one? Tonally, visually?
Yeah, a lot of films from the 80s that we loved. Anthony and I are film fans. We grew up loving movies, and the motivation for us to make movies is to try to convey to audiences the feelings that we had in theaters when we watched movies growing up. So Die Hard, Lethal Weapon, films that had a sense of humor, didn't take themselves too seriously, but delivered on the spectacle and the action, had real stakes, but were a lot of fun to watch. And that's really what was the inspiration for The Gray Man.
Yeah. I would say, characters you can root for, characters you sort of can find an empathy for and identify with and sort of feel their jeopardy,
Sure. It's not the first time that you've worked with Netflix. Of course, you produced Extraction. What does that relationship look like today? And how does Netflix support your sort of creative and artistic vision?
Yeah, I mean, Netflix is a very bold company. They function more like a tech company than a studio. Studios can be very fearful, have a very sort of traditional conservative element to them that sometimes they're supportive of the artist, sometimes they're not. Depends who's running it. The consistency of leadership at Netflix has made it a unique place to work because they're extremely supportive of the artist and they absolutely stay out of your way. Let you make the movie that you want to make, and then once you deliver it, then they figure out how it works for their, where to put it on their platform. We love that. I mean, we love the fact that as artists that we have incredible freedom. And they also like to take risks. This is a big gamble for them. It's an expensive movie, unique kind of film for them. But like with Extraction, I think that, their audience is a global audience, and global audiences really like action movies.
Right.
It's sort of the universal language. And so I think this is a great marriage because Anthony and I also love action movies. So I think working with them is very complimentary for them and us.
Sure.
Yeah. I will also say the thing with Netflix that we really appreciate is their global reach and their global sort of approach to audience building. It was very important for Joe and I to come here to India, and they were very supportive of that, and they have an amazing operation here in India. So we're very grateful to be able to collaborate with them here.
Dhanush, your character in The Grey Man, the lone wolf, is this mysterious sort of figure who comes in from the cold. There's not a lot that we know about him, except that he's very good at his job. Was there a backstory that you worked on? Was there some sort of blueprint, for you to understand and to get into his head?
Yes, the Russos gave me a kind of backstory about what he can be, where he can be from, how he could be. So that was very helpful. And I remember telling him that this itself is a story. This itself is a film. We have a film there. So it was very interesting. I'm not going to tell you
share that,
or share that because
Well, we gave you the backstory. We gave him was that he's sexy, and he's from Tamil. So.
No, but I would say that's part of the fun is that the three of us may have done more work on the character than you can sort of know in the film.
Sure.
But we hope that we get to tell more story with this character, and we like to keep our options open in terms of where we can go with the character,
and therefore not give away too much too soon. Sure. Dhanush, did it feel close to any character that you've played already? Because, as you know, he's a veteran who's made several movies. Did the Lone Wolf feel similar to anything that you've done before?
no.
Interesting.
Definitely not. It was that's one of the many things that really excited me about this. I've never done anything like this before. The stunt training the character required was absolutely justified to play one of the top assassins from the world, and so it was a very new thing for me to do, a new territory to explore, and that was really exciting.
Right. To all of you, the thing about Dhanush's character, and I think what makes the Lone Wolf this interesting sort of figure is that, of course, he's this assassin, he's ruthless, he's really good at what he does, but he's also got this code of ethics. He is, if you like, a hitman with morals. I read somewhere that wasn't necessarily how it was written originally.
Yeah, it was a conversation that we had. I mean, I think everyone in the book was a little bit more ruthless. And in converting it to the screen, like Ann said, you want characters that you can root for. And we also like a world where not everybody's all good, not everybody's all bad. That's why it's called The Gray Man. Everyone operates in this gray area. But, again, we also like strong themes that we connect everything to in the story. Do you lean towards humanity or do you lean away from humanity? His character is being paid to do a job, and he's the best in the world at getting paid to do that job. He beats the gray man, he gets what he's supposed to get. But when he finds out that Lloyd, Chris Evans' character, has no moral code, it disturbs him, and he realizes he may have taken a job from somebody that he doesn't want to work for, which makes him an interesting character, because now we're peeling back a layer to him. So I think, and that was in conversations with Dhanush about his character, and what kind of character he can be, and who he is. It was Dhanush's idea to have the meditation beads, when we first see him as a character. So giving him a flavor that made him very unique as this type of character.
Did you want to add to that? Dhanush, was that what made him especially interesting to play? The fact that he's not your standard cold-blooded assassin?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are many interesting, things about Avik San. He's mysterious, man of few words, just like me.
Right.
And he has his own code, ethics. He has his own morals, and it's not often you would come across a character like that. It's either really bad, or it's really good. It's not often you come across such an interesting character. So it was amazing.
To the Russos, you're no stranger to world building, to franchise creating. Also, you've left Sierra 6 and Dani certainly as characters who could be mined for more plot. It's something you briefly mentioned. Is there something we can expect?
Yeah.
And can we expect the lone wolf to show up in some of those stories?
We hope so.
It's based on it's based on a book series, right? So there is the opportunity to expand this into future movies. We love to keep going with the world because we love all of the characters, but we need the audience to tell us whether they want to see more of the story or not. If we do continue forward with the story, I can guarantee you that Dhanush's character will be part of that world moving forward.
Yeah, I keep getting texts from people I know and they just say more Dhanush in the texts. So.
Dhanush, what would it take to come back and do another one?
Sorry?
What would it take to come back and do another one?
A phone call.
Oh, lovely. Okay. Well, to the Russos, the big action centerpiece in Prague, that big action sequence is really in many ways the centerpiece action of the film. It's pretty amazing in every which way, from the shootout to the tram pursuit, if you like. What goes into planning and executing a sequence of that magnitude and impact?
Oh, a lot of work.
Many months. I mean, that sequence, that sequence is so large. The energy it takes on as we develop it, it almost feels like it's its own movie as we're prepping it within the movie. But yeah, we spend a long time, again, like we were describing earlier when we were started really looking at Dhanush's work. We spent a lot of time researching and thinking about where we can take the movie, what we can do, how we can explore the characters that we're thinking about, and that sort of creative phase kind of eventually starts to turn into exploring it through storyboarding, or sometimes we'll animate certain sequences of the film just to feel out how they're playing. We'll also get together with our stunt team and we'll stage certain sections of the action that we're thinking about, like in a gym, and we'll shoot it and we'll edit it together. So it's almost a process of us making the movie before we make the movie. Because action is so hard to shoot and hard to execute. When you get there on set, the crew is massive. Sometimes you're using a location that includes like a major city square in a big busy city. You're asking for trams and all kinds of things. So you have to be highly organized by the time you get there. So we go through an exhaustive process of knowing how the sequence can work best and what the sequence should be before we get there.
How many days did it take to shoot? Is it true that you shut off the city square for a week?
that sequence from start to finish was 6 weeks. And a lot of revising, very intense work. The hospital scene, I think we probably shot that for a month. The fight in the hospital room and the sequence outside, because we kept revising that as well.
Dhanush, you have these two very thrilling fight sequences with Ryan Gosling and Ana de Armas's character. What were those like to shoot? How much prep went into those?